This episode of the Citation Needed podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Hey, it's Bobby Bones with some exciting news. Open booking is here for the Top Shelf Country Cruise, setting sail February 2026 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Reflection. Spots are filling up fast, so book your stateroom today or sign up to become a lineup insider to receive the final lineup 48 hours prior to the public. Don't miss your chance to make February 2026 unforgettable. Visit TopShelfCountryCruise.com. That's TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
Tom, did you leave the door to the studio unlocked?
No, I don't think so.
I sure hope
All
nobody-
right. At the count of three, you shall turn and fire.
Agreed.
Oh, hey, Tom. Hey, Cecil.
Hey, no, what's going on?
Heath and Eli have a sort of feud that's been going on our channel for a while, so we thought we'd settle it with a duel.
Gonna duel you so hard.
Not enough I duel you first. I call winner.
Fair enough.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted from me.
Okay.
I accepted it.
Ready, gentlemen, on three.
Wait. Is it 1, 2, 3, shoot, or is it 1, 2, shoot?
Ooh.
That wouldn't be on three, now would it? If it was
Well,
1, 2, shoot.
Okay, so when do I shoot?
On shoot.
But which shoot?
I'll say 1, 2, 3, shoot.
I win.
Damn it, you guys.
I quit the show.
Don't be a sore loser, Heath.
I just got shot.
Don't do this.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. My name is Noah, and I'll be acting as your tour guide through this week's episode because I drew the short straw. Joining me for this joyless journey down Wikipedia lane are two men whose physical appearance also suggests a lot of unpleasant compromises, Tom and Heath.
Thanks, Noah. I feel like I'm supposed to get something with all these compromises. They're like, I don't know, forearm strength, I guess?
Oh, but only on one hand, apparently.
Just one side.
Was I supposed to prepare something for this episode, guys?
I kind of hope you prepared something.
Wait, Ruh-roh.
And further complicating matters that are apparently already too complex are two men whose relationship continues to befuddle us all. Cecil, Eli, welcome to Citation Needed, and please clear up an issue for us. Are you, in fact, best friends?
We are not best friends.
Okay, Cecil, I know you're hurting right now because you had Comey in the office dictator pool, but don't lash out. Not now. Not in front of Heath. Don't do this.
Hey, Cecil, Tom, did you guys get your parts of the 4-piece locket? The one that says Cecil, Tom, Noah, and Heath BFF? Did you get it?
So hurtful. Why would you even joke about that?
Well, if one of us isn't able to fulfill our duties, that it would go to Andrew, but you're like somewhere on the list.
Kill you in a duel.
All right, well, now that we've got that all cleared up, before we begin, I want to pause for just a moment and thank everyone who's become a patron of the show. Without your generous donations and outpouring of support that frankly humbled and surprised all of us, we would never be able to afford to do this show or get Cecil and Eli the couples therapy they so clearly need.
Oh, fuck, I have a wife. God, I got to run into her. How are you? I'm going to write out the words so it doesn't seem casual. Question.
And of course, if you're not already a patron, you can fix that. We'll tell you how at the end of the show. All right, so now that our plea to the better angels of our audience's nature and wallets has concluded, Tom, what person, place, thing, event, concept, or phenomenon will we break down, butcher, and hastily reassemble today?
But today we're going to be talking about the 7th president of the United States and hero of the $20 bill, Andrew Jackson.
Sounds
Yay.
terrible. All right, Tom, we've managed to convince you that you won't get paid unless you actually do something once in a while, so you read the Wikipedia article, and you've told us all that you're ready to walk us through this momentous man's achievements. So are you ready to educate, elucidate, and illuminate?
I am as surprised to say yes as you may be to hear it, Noah.
I doubt that. I doubt that.
I'm excited to hear the section about the Civil War.
Yeah. And the singularity. Jackson saw that coming too.
I'm excited to hear the part about Frederick Douglass.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an example of somebody who's done an amazing job and is getting recognized more and more, I notice. Yeah, exactly. So tell us, Tom, how did Andrew Jackson start his journey to being the face voted most likely to have cocaine snorted through it?
I mean, to be fair, that is only because Noah didn't enter.
I'm not as old as you think. I wasn't around then.
All right, well, that's 2 new Patreon goals. Campaign to get Noah's face on the new 20 and giant bag of Coke. 2 goals.
Heath, I hate to break it to you, but all the Patreon goals of all the shows I'm on are for a giant bag of Coke.
All right, well, that's 4 giant bags of Coke we're going to get next time we hit a Patreon goal.
I thought we weren't supposed to talk about that on air. Cecil gave us a whole big speech.
All right, Andrew Jackson entered the world on March 15th, 1767, like he did everything else, with no small amount of drama and leaving corpses in his wake, his father having died in an accident a few weeks before he was born. Incidentally, his actual birthplace is not truly known, probably because he was plotting a duel with the other children in the region at the time from in utero and demanded secrecy.
Umbilical cords at dawn.
Bungee duel. That is my new favorite sport. That should be part of American Gladiators. Well, I feel like the kickback, the kickback would make some like spinny pendulum action happen. That'd be fun. Be an interesting stage moms cheering their fetus from the rafters.
Okay, I am picturing a fetus doing an Owen Hart. Are we all picturing?
Oh,
Oh, that's too soon. That's too soon?
Don't get ahead of the story, Eli or Tom.
Wait,
Now,
that's ahead of the story?
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know how this ends.
I mean, it ends in Owen Hart's death.
You guys are used to jumping right to the end, but a little foreplay goes a long way. Now that we know the exciting fact that he was born somewhere to a widow, what was the rest of his family like?
Tragic and surreal, Noah. Andrew's older brother, Hugh, died a hero's death in the Revolutionary War, succumbing to heat stroke, as heroes do.
Heroically, yeah.
Oh, no, I need a juice box. Bleh. Pussy.
some general who looks like my dad yelling at him, "Get a real stroke, faggot."
So Andrew's mother, probably in search of a reliable babysitter, encouraged Andrew and his remaining brother Robert to help the revolutionary cause by aiding the militia as couriers. They did such a bang-up job of this that they were subsequently captured by the British, slashed in the face with swords for being disobedient little shits.
Wow. Jesus, fucking truant officers back then did not fuck around. You don't have a parental note? Cut his face to show his mom we mean business.
So the kids responded to this treatment by promptly contracting smallpox and then nearly starving to death.
I'll show them.
Probably because they were fed British food while in prison.
Okay, hear me out. It's a Patriot sequel meets a pacifier prequel. We get Vin Diesel. We get Mel Gibson.
Available.
Heath comes up with a pun-based title for this movie. No, I got it. The Yiddish are coming. Too fast, too furious. They're coming too fast, too furious.
All right, so not a quitter, Andrew's brother finished the job of dying a few days after their mother Elizabeth secured their release, which meant all that effort securing his release was a waste of her fucking time.
Oh, no, now that I'm free, I'm going to die anyway. Blech, pussy. Whatever.
He gets it.
So Elizabeth retaliated by contracting cholera and dying, leaving Andrew, an orphan at 14, with an intense hatred of the British.
I smell a hip-hop musical.
Questlove in the time of cholera.
I'm
be the
not
name of that.
giving up my slaves. I'm not giving up my slaves.
So Andrew also didn't get along terribly well with his extended family, so he couch surfed his way around for a while, eventually learning from a number of lawyers enough to pass the bar and get a job as a prosecutor in a territory that would later have the misfortune of becoming Tennessee. Oh, and then he also bought his first slave and fought his first duel sometime around there too.
The fuck? He's like old-timey Stewie Griffin. He's like, Mom, Lois, you're going to miss it. I'm going to shoot a guy and buy a Negro. Are you watching?
I just want to point out that makes 4 podcasts where you have tried to make "I'm going to shoot a man and buy a Negro" into your catchphrase,
and I believe I've succeeded.
It's not going to.
I have succeeded. That's locked in. I've sold none of those shirts. That is my catchphrase. They are just sitting in my apartment.
I'll take one. I will take one.
Oh my God, he said it! I just nailed it.
We only have extra smalls. We have babies. We have onesies. We thought it would catch on with the kids. It's a cartoon. I don't want to get into it.
So Jackson then decided to start his lifelong dream of fucking over the Native Americans by forming a partnership with John Overton, buying and selling land that belonged by treaty to the Chickasaw and Cherokee tribes, land that eventually he bought as part of the Jackson Purchase. The land ultimately turned out to be worthless and was dubbed Memphis.
Okay. Well, Tom, we can't all live in the glorious city of Chicago where a popcornery adorns every block and the pizza comes just in time for your funeral.
Well, if it's your funeral, Eli, that'd be pretty fast. Be like 30 minutes or less. Right?
Yeah. Find out on my birthday.
Well, I don't know when your birthday is, Eli, because we're not friends.
Don't lash out. I know you're planning a surprise, but that's not the way to throw me
I just want to point out nobody flunks an actuarial test funnier than Eli. You have a funny impending death.
By dying.
The odds are against him.
The never hungry games.
So Jackson moved on to Nashville, where he became Attorney General, was elected as Tennessee's House Representative, then Senator, and then sat as a Supreme Court Justice, but just for Tennessee's state Supreme Court, so like not a good one.
Yeah, let's not make that sound hard. The incumbents he ran against were like an aging rooster, a small pile of leaves, an empty jug of whiskey someone just got finished blowing into,
a washboard.
So the French election.
So Andrew quickly realized the pointlessness of all of this, and he quit to go make some money pursuing his business interests.
Right, yeah. So he founded the Washington Redskins. Yeah. Which sounds like a football team, actually more like a collection. Would be the best way to describe it.
He's going to say it. He's going to say it.
Oh, God. So while on the state Supreme Court, Andrew was somehow appointed colonel of the Tennessee militia. I don't know why or how. I don't. Things were just different back then. So this was all fine and good for about 20 seconds till he got bored and he ran for the office of the commander of the Tennessee militia, and he won that race, though without not gaining some enemies, nearly fighting another duel and seething with desire to attack the Spanish or the British. Or both. He doesn't really care. He doesn't care.
Tom, I worry that you identify too much with his murderous impulses. I know you're anxious to venture down Murder Alley, but before we do, can you tell us a little more about the business interest that you mentioned earlier?
Well, I will know, but only because it's almost as vicious and cold-blooded. Jackson owned a 1,000-acre plantation called, and I love this, the Hermitage, which is a word which means the dwelling place of a hermit. 1,000 acres worked by 150 slaves.
Oh,
typical hermit stuff. But he was, to be fair, a pretty nice slave owner.
Weird place for a compliment sandwich, if I can give you that note.
He didn't split up families. He occasionally paid them money, and he only whipped them when he felt like they really deserved it, or he wanted to increase productivity.
They would get up after 24 hours, so it's biblical. No, yeah, okay.
When are they going to make Southworld? Who wouldn't want to own a plantation in
Jesus.
Southworld? How fun would that be?
That's just the South. You did it, Heath. They're gonna love your catchphrase. You have a tiki torch?
Oh, did I mention his wife?
No, Tom, you didn't. I noticed wives are a topic you tend to avoid.
Some things you just can't afford to forget, Noah.
9/11.
Actually, I think it's more like 58-42, right? Tom, 58-42? You're on the bad side of that?
Never forget.
42? You got 42?
Ouch. Ouch. I won't. For 8.5 years. I remember that for 8.5 years.
I should text my wife. Can we take I should just text her. Just to check in. Sup? That's too casual.
Jackson met and married Rachel Robards. The only problem here was that Rachel was already married, an inconvenience that she quickly remedied. Jackson and Rachel got married, married, however. But Jackson got super grumpy whenever anybody mocked his marriage. So grumpy, in fact, that he fought a duel over the subject with Charles Dickinson, who published a criticism of Jackson's marriage.
Did he get paid by the word? did he ask his wife if she wanted some more?
Dickinson, not Dickens.
Hey, Jackson, I'll tell you a tale of dem titties.
And the winner of highest brow joke ever to end with dem titties is...
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Just keeps getting more highbrow. Amazing.
So Jackson, ever the honey badger of presidents, allowed himself to get... Now, this is for real. He allowed himself to get shot first.
Oh, what? Jesus.
Believing that Dickinson's aim would be spoiled in the hurry of the duel. The bullet lodged in his chest. It was never removed. So it was never removed.
Aim was pretty decent anyway.
Yeah, not bad.
Right. Jackson then just stood there with the bullet in his chest and executed Dickinson.
Is that the rule? Stop moving around like Neo. Stop. You have to stand there. You're not allowed to do the back lean thing.
So lots of people thought this was kind of a dick move, but I strongly suspect they kept that to them fucking selves.
Right. Hey, all's fair in love and war, Tom. Clearly, Andrew got that memo. Speaking of which, tell us a little bit about his military career.
I'm going to try, no, but it's so insane, we're going to have to move quicker than a glass of milk through Eli's bowels.
The key is to lower yourself onto it and then do a handstand. Y'all thought that was a vegan joke, but it's not. It's about the flexibility of my butthole.
Listen to Heath.
It's basically Jakarta at this point.
You win every milk chugging contest, every single one. It's amazing.
I'm not allergic if I drink it this way.
I just sit down, do a cartwheel. I got all the vitamin D I need.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Eli doing a cartwheel.
My wife helps.
He just falls sideways, the glass breaks, it's an ER thing.
He just comes into the ER, they're like, again, Eli, again.
I use my wife as a spotter. I should text her. I should see how she's doing. Are we friends on Facebook? I'm going to see if we're friends on Facebook.
So after the War of 1812 broke out between the U.S. and Great Britain and various Native American Indian tribes, Jackson led an army of volunteers to defend New Orleans. Nobody asked him to do this. What? Yeah, the Secretary of War even told Jackson to dismiss his forces, an order Jackson just ignored, which is all fine and good since he then used those forces to defeat the Red Sticks in Florida. He was then promoted to Major General for this victory. Again, with an army nobody asked him to raise or lead. Not content with this, Jackson, who is now being referred to as Hickory and sometimes Old Hickory for his toughness.
Back when people knew the difference between different kinds of wood.
The good old days, yeah.
He contracted dysentery, and this only seemed to annoy him because he gets dysentery, and then with dysentery, he's like, fuck it, and he fights the Spanish, even though the U.S. wasn't even at war with the Spanish. He just fucked them. And then the British, too. And then he seized control of Western Florida. He learned in this process that the British planned to attack New Orleans. This pissed him off. He marched off to defend New Orleans. He defeats a force of 10,000, inflicted 1,900 casualties, suffered only 50 casualties of his own forces. The British, for their part, having now seen New Orleans, realized it wasn't worth the effort. They quit the whole damn war, and Jackson became a national hero.
And to think he did this in a time before they even had tiki torches. Amazing.
And, I mean, look, that all sounds really epic until we remember that the British policy on the Americas was if white-skinned people shoot back, everyone leaves. So don't get too excited about Andrew Jackson, all right?
That's actually the wording of Florida's only gun law. White-skinned people shoot back.
Which is on the back of the T-shirt.
Oh, bravo.
Stand your ground.
So Jackson, he defends New Orleans and then promptly declares martial law in New Orleans. And then he orders a summary execution of 6 British militia members. Then he had arrested a U.S. District Court judge, a legislator, another federal judge, a lawyer, and everyone else that pissed him off even a little. Congress then declares him a hero for defending, again, New Orleans, and heaped just a shit ton of medals on him.
Honestly, it's like Trump studied for president by reading the same article Tom just skimmed like 10 minutes ago.
I want to rewind for a second. Killing 6 Brits is a big deal. Didn't he just injure or kill 1,900? What are you saving those 6 for later?
We only had 6 left.
So Jackson was asked to make sure that Florida didn't become a home for runaway slaves. So he fucking invaded it. He just invaded Florida, which was Spanish territory, and he just fucking took it over. Again, not at war with Spain at this time. That's not at war. Andrew Jackson just decided he wanted it, so he did. No affirmative consent.
So like raping the land. That's how you get Jackson. Right?
And Mar-a-Lago. Wait, did you say raping the land? Never mind. You said land.
I feel like we're gonna get to the part where this guy deserves to be on money any second now, right? We're gonna get to and then he realized the error of his way.
So once Florida had been rightfully stolen from the Spanish, Jackson turned his attention to politics, attempting to garner Tennessee's electoral votes, mostly just because he disliked William H. Crawford so much he wanted to take something away from him. His spite-based plan was more successful than he imagined, and he garnered surprising support outside of Tennessee. This was also mostly hate-based, as his supporters appreciated his loathing for the central bank. Jackson narrowly lost his first bid for president in the election of 1824, resigned his Senate seat, took his ball, and went home.
Running for office on spite. Is that why he's Donnie's hero?
Right.
Yeah, the spite thing, but also how he handled paying for manual labor, I'm pretty sure. Just don't do that.
Guys, also racism. I think Trump is going to end up on the money. I'm afraid he's going to end up on the money. Someone tell me he's not going to end up on the money.
So after resigning, Jackson waits about 45 minutes before being nominated for president again in 1825, right? He just lost the 1824 election. He's a full 3 years ahead of the 1828 election. The campaign was a particularly nasty one, and Jackson's wife, Rachel, was accused of bigamy, which, while true, was also something of a low blow. Rachel did not handle the stress of the campaign well and bowed out early by dying of a heart attack.
Can we all just take note of that term? I would like it to be said I bowed out early instead of died on the toilet when that show happens. Just, episode 8's right around the corner.
Boweled out early.
Oh, there you go.
Andrew Jackson blamed his rivals and his critics for Rachel's death, vowing never to forgive her murderers.
Well, Tom, this seems like a good place to pause for a moment now that you finally gotten to the point where Jackson's president and enjoy everybody's favorite use of the interstitial music, apropos of nothing.
Before there was Action Jackson, there was Andrew Jackson. He was as fiercely loyal as he was fierce.
What'd you say about my wife?
I mocked her, good sir, and then I shot you.
Well, I just pulled the trigger, so you have about 30 to 45 seconds to get your affairs in order.
Are you sure we can't just reach a gentleman's agreement now?
No,
maybe?
No. I mean, I already pulled the trigger. Tick-tock.
He was a war hero.
The British are marching toward New Orleans.
Can we make it smell like someone puked in a bucket of piss-flavored hobos? That'd be perfect.
Shouldn't we just burn it down?
Nah, then they might be able to rebuild. This way no one will want it.
And his legend lives on.
Oh, I say, help! That whole building full of Native Americans is on fire!
I don't know. It's not really like a big thing. Are we?
If it keeps burning, it'll take most of South Carolina with it.
Okay. I mean, still not that concerned here, South Carolina.
It's also filled with lightly beaten abandoned slaves that you can sell at a good price.
Jesus! Well, why didn't you say so? Somebody get me a bucket. Fuck!
This summer.
Look, if you keep getting up and doing actiony things while I'm painting you, this portrait's going to be terrible.
I'm just bored. I'm going to call this off for the day and go force march people to death or something, which is ridiculous.
We just started 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I just can't today. Andrew's a little fidgety, you know?
What an asshole.
What was that?
Nothing at all. I'm just putting my paints away. I mean, maybe it was a floor. I don't know. Wasn't me. I don't know. I didn't hear anything. Did you hear something?
Felt like you said something.
For every action, there is an equal and opposite Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson, Trail of Tears, in a theater near you.
Are you sure we can't just work something out? I mean, I'm sorry for what I said about your wife and for shooting you.
Look, too late. I mean, his gunpowder's almost burned down.
And now that that's over, Tom, I believe you'd finally gotten us around to Jackson's actual presidency. So tell us, what happens next?
Well, Jackson got his knickers in a bunch about a series of rumors surrounding the supposed sexual impropriety of the wife of the Secretary of War. He was so offended that her honor was besmirched that he fired the entire cabinet except for the Postmaster General, and he bought a newspaper. He bought a newspaper to control the flow of information and combat rumors in the public sphere.
And Breitbart was born.
So Jackson then turned his attention to the problem of the pesky Native American population, who had the unmitigated temerity to continue to exist in places that Jackson and others found generally inconvenient.
Assholes.
Jackson became an advocate for the Indian relocation policy, otherwise known as the "you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here" policy.
Here being home.
All the Eastern Seaboard states are just turning the lights on and off.
Jukebox suddenly goes out.
Yeah.
You're making out with Pocahontas. All of a sudden, she's Mother Teresa. Fuck! I'm going to get an Uber just by myself.
This gets complicated quickly, and there was deals and treaties galore, but the upshot here is that 45,000 American Indians were relocated west during Jackson's presidency, and as many as 4,000 of them died on the Trail of Tears when they were escorted west by the military.
Would we say upshot, Tom? Is the word we want to use upshot? Like, I know we're the edgy guys, but upshot.
Yeah, the original Westworld, it wasn't a simulation. It was just fucking and killing Native Americans, like, while facing west.
So Jackson then set about investigating basically the entire federal government to uncover collusion and mismanagement and favoritism, and he tried to abolish the Electoral College, proposed presidential term limits, and advocated for a rotation system for political appointees.
I wanted to abolish the Electoral College. Are you saying that if Jackson would have been a little more of a tenacious bastard, then Hillary would have won? Fucking dodged a bullet, man.
Okay, quick game. How many dead Native Americans would you trade for a Hillary presidency? Let's get real. No wrong answers, gentlemen. No wrong answers.
Only wrong answers. Tom, please
All of them.
the subject
That was my
back
answer.
to Andrew Jackson's presidency. Too late.
So South Carolina got bored, figured out it was a terrible state, and threatened to secede. But like just a little, just to kind of like see how you respond to it.
Like a cutter tweeting a playful selfie. Yeah. What do you do? By the way, do you like it in that situation? No. What do you retweet?
You do a thankful.
Jackson responded by putting a stop to that shit, mostly through sheer force of fucking will. It's more complicated than that, but I have to tell you about tariffs and nullification crises. The bottom line is mostly that Jackson just said no.
He tweets back a picture of his hand chopped off. Tough love. We're not going anywhere, South Carolina.
Then Andrew turned his attention to the central bank. And if you're following along at home, you know that turning his attention to something basically meant that he killed it with fire, which he did. So just no more central bank. This, along with selling public lands and duty revenues, meant that Jackson was able to pay off the entire national debt, acting with gazelle intensity.
That's a deep cut for David Ramsey listeners. Yeah, I thought so.
For those who don't understand, David Ramsey is a gentleman who explains to poor people how to be less poor, but he's lying. It's mostly based on inheriting money. That's not how wealth works.
The problem is that getting rid of the central bank put lending decisions in the hands of local banks, which basically fucked the whole thing up. Land speculation was off the charts, so Jackson approved the Specie Act, which required that public land purchases now be backed by gold or silver. Relaxed lending standards and then the inability for banks to back their money with precious metals caused a panic. And then the economy collapsed, sank into a depression, and the national debt, which was briefly paid off, then soared. This is, no shit, considered by many current fans of decentralization and deregulation to be one of Andrew Jackson's greatest achievements.
What? Seriously? Yeah, if it weren't for all those traitors like fucking Woodrow Wilson and the abolitionists, we'd already be great again. It's fine.
You feel like those people don't tend to read the end of the book. They just really like the idea of slamming your fists on a mahogany table.
So I got to say, Tom, this fella sounds controversial. Did any of this controversy cause him troubles while he was president, or are we just being 21st century dicks about all of this?
Yeah, both, Noah, both. Jackson's economic policies were so controversial that he was censured by the Senate.
Did he persist?
Oh my God, they look identical.
He's beaten off to a $20 bill now.
Now, the censure was later expunged by Jackson's supporters, but it took several years. And he also has the distinction of being the first president to almost be assassinated. But, and this really happened, he beat the shit out of his would-be assassin with his cane after the assassin's shitty ye olde pistol failed to fire.
That cane's name? Secret Service.
Hell yeah.
Kane dives in front of him like a Bible in its front pocket somehow. All right, dueling rules. You have to stand still while I beat you to death with this cane now.
You can't move
That's the rule.
either.
What? I get a pivot foot, though.
So
it's
do
like
I.
basketball.
So do I.
Stop.
You stop.
You have to stay.
Pivot.
That's 2 steps.
Pivot.
You're traveling.
Double coins.
So, Tom, how does it all end?
Ooh, everybody dies.
I bet you're right.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, no, after his second term, Jackson retired to his humble 1,000-acre plantation, where he fixed the financial mismanagement and fuck-uppery caused by his dipshit kid, advocated for a national treasury system, as one does when retired, and strongly pushed for the annexation of Texas. He eventually died on his plantation, but it took a combination of tuberculosis, dropsy, and heart failure to do him in.
Jesus.
Dropsy? Is that a real thing?
That's the kicker.
Best name for an old-timey disease.
That's the one that gets you.
I would have been such a pussy back in the 1800s. I'd have been like, oh, I fucking stubbed my toe. Someone just put me out of my misery, man. Fuck this.
I got the Stubsies. I got a case of the Stubsies. I'm
Yeah, I
done.
think that killed you back then, though.
It's weird that the president got killed by a cartoon bear. It's me, Dropsy. You will never see a morning again. If you'd like to buy your stuffed talking Dropsy, we have 150 of them. We'll throw in the free baby onesie that says, I'm going to shoot a guy and buy a Negro. It's just, honestly, it's taking up room in my apartment. And I can't find my
Put
wife.
those on the bear. Where the bear could wear that.
I haven't talked to my wife. I think she's mad about the bear.
The bear could have a pet dog named Tuberculosis, too. It'd be amazing.
There you go. All right, well, Tom, you have clearly read at least most of part of a Wikipedia. That makes you the expert. Are you ready to brave the querulous questioning of our panel of newly minted pedants, though?
I have my pom-poms ready, Noah. Bring it on.
I call them pom-poms, too. Okay, Cecil, can you stump our chump?
All right, I'm going to give it hell. President Donald Trump recently mistook Andrew Jackson as someone with a stance on the Civil War, Tom. What else has the current president mistook the 7th president for? A, he thought he was the king of pop.
Okay. Plausible.
B, he thought he was the black guy in Predator.
Also plausible.
C, he thought he was the founding father that banged all his slaves, which is why they're all called Jackson. D, he wondered why Wiz Khalifa made his daughter cry.
That was Cecil being racist.
Or E, none of these, open brackets, pick this one, Tom. All of these are super racist. Pick this one, end brackets.
Well, I feel like I'm going to follow direction here. This is E.
Correct. They are all super racist.
They are racist. They are super racist.
All right, Tom, I got one for you. Which of the following was not an actual Andrew Jackson nickname? Old Hickory. That one was on the show, so kind of a gimme. The Caned Crusader. Indian Killer.
That's
or Sharp Knife.
That is tough. Not. So that leaves out Indian Killer for sure. I'm going to go with the Caned Crusader.
That is correct. That is correct.
They really missed out.
I'm right. It's a
marketing
lost opportunity for sure.
sucks, Yeah.
All right, Tom, I got one for you. Which of the following is the favorite bumper sticker of Andrew Jackson fans today? Is it A, halftime, North 1, South 0? Is it B, the Germans had the right railroad for Harriet Tubman?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Is it was above
Too
ground?
far. The show is over.
Is it C, if you can read this, my house is missing? Or is it D, a trail of tears makes the best lube?
Well, it's bitter experience teaches me that D is the answer.
That is correct.
All right. Well, nobody stumped you yet, so I've got one more. Andrew Jackson, of course, appears on the $20 bill, despite the fact that he spent his life fighting against central banks, Federal Reserves, and paper money specifically. Now he's on the most traded currency. So how else should we posthumously fuck with historical figures? A, name the bar we buy when we retire, the Amy Winehouse.
73 points.
Well, let's get Wayne. B, use Eli's headshot as the artwork for Heath's episode on eugenics. I should point out to the listeners, we're recording this episode in advance. I'm assuming a bit on the Eli posthumous thing, but State Farm has my back.
We're definitely doing the eugenics thing, though. That's
Is it C, name all of our most violent streets Martin Luther King Boulevard? Or would it be D, venerating Andrew Jackson?
It's gotta be D.
Well, shit, nobody was able to stump you, so in made up Andrew Jackson trivia, I guess you'll get the honor of being next week's host, and you get to choose who takes over as the expert next week.
Well, that's got to be Cecil. You're it, buddy.
Tag, I am it. This is the worst day ever.
It gets worse. Don't worry. They always do.
And of course, also included in your victory gift bag is getting to read the answer to last week's question and this week's Twitter question. So read away, Tom.
So last week's Twitter question, what would you name the doll for the little girl dying of radiation poisoning? Again, another uplifting question for an uplifting program. Comes from Nemo B, otherwise known as Fart Priest 69 on Twitter, who answered Dan, because her DNA is scrambled. And this week's question, you get to pick a fight between Andrew Jackson and anyone else in history. Who do you choose to lose against Andrew Jackson? Because I literally can't conceive of anyone that would win.
All right. And of course, if you'd like to answer that question, just retweet this episode along with your answer, and your answer could appear on next week's show. All right. Well, for Cecil, Eli, Heath, and Tom, I'm Noah, and I'm grateful to be done trying to wrangle Tom into actually doing some goddamn work. If you'd like to hear more, you can hear Tom and Cecil on the Cognitive Dissonance podcast. And if you want more of Heath, Eli, and myself, you can hear us on The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, and God Awful Movies. To make sure we keep slogging away at this, of course, you can become a patron by making a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. That's patreon.com/citationpod. Check the show notes for more information. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, rate us on iTunes, and blow us gently in the stall of a men's room. or ladies.
Or not gently.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/get-started. That's GREENLIGHT.com/get-started.